Down here, salt is a way of life.
Obviously, the environment down here is all salt. The ceiling's salt, the floor is salt, the walls are salt, and to an extent, the air is salt. And you breathe that in, and you can constantly taste the salt.
DC penalty isn't fair. Why do we have to suffer toxic killers and waste what little time we have to play the game? At least give us the option to opt out of unfun matches. Edit, for anyone against, just add a recompense mechanic for the remaining survivors and killer. Edit 2. This suggestion is really aimed at solo queue players, for the purpose of reducing real human suffering and time waste.
Heck, if you want killers to DC, just bring Haddonfield. Guaranteed 9 times out of 10 they will DC and get the ban. Just load up a bunch of those offerings and watch the ban timer go up. It's priceless. I only do that when I have salty and toxic killers back to back. Yeah, I wish there was a way for them to distinguish between intentional DC and internet issues. Like if the power goes out, it's not your fault. At least implement some sort of return timer in case that it was a fluke.
Seriously. It's not like survivors DC for no reason. There is negative emotions involved, and that's not what gaming is about, so D-Sing should be allowed.
DC penalty is fine, just don't DC.
Yes. Let's force people to wait 240 seconds while a toxic killer lets them bleed on the ground instead of hooking. Or vice versa, SWF that holds a game hostage forever until killer is forced to DC and incur penalty. Let's not think about how that makes anyone feel.
It's fair, and in cases like yours, excellent. I have some sympathy for people who disconnect due to technical issues. You, on the other hand, are just a crybaby, and exactly why the DC penalty is needed.
We really can't listen to toxic people like this. Let the devs know that we want the DC penalty removed.
It's not fair because sometimes I spawn into a match and it's RPD. What am I supposed to do? Play the match? To hell with that.
It's clearly the opinion of the loud and toxic minority that DC penalty should stay. Yep, that works when you get slugged and the killer holds the game hostage. DC also used to be strongest counter to 2v1 slug situation, so now the killer can just hold the game hostage every time to prevent hatch.
Killer has almost no way to hold a game hostage unless they are hacking. Slugging is not holding the game hostage. Have you ever played DBD when there were no DC penalties? Every game was at least one DC. It was unplayable. Playing a survivor was impossible because many others just DC when they get down the first time. Playing killer was a waste of time, as well as games ended pretty much in a matter of seconds after they started. Nurse Blink? DC. Chainsaw Sound? DC. And so on. Have you played any other multiplayer PvP game? Every game has a penalty for leavers. In multiplayer, it does not matter if you don't have fun. You started the game, now play it. If you quit, face a punishment. And to finish it off, the penalty system was the most asked for thing in the history of DBD. So, the majority of people disagree with you.
Dissing timeout needs removed. I was playing the game, my internet decided to refresh, causing me to DC, and I now have a 6-hour timeout. I don't see how this is legal, holding the game I paid for hostage. This needs to be fixed.
You know people here realize it take a multitude of DCS to get a 6-hour ban, not just one game.
Right, my internet is not the best. But I shouldn't be soft banned from a product that I paid for just because my internet has spotty issues.
Your internet is your responsibility. Having an internet connection is a requirement of the game, and is stated in the game's minimum requirements. It's not on the devs to fix your internet. If your net is that inconsistent that you rack up a 6-hour ban, spend those 6 hours looking up ways to make your connection more stable.
Best part about this is that I can't tell if it's a joke or not. From PPL saying pets were in crisis to bad weather equals long D/C timeouts LOL.
Yeah, it does. I live in Tennessee. The only internet available to me is Saturday. It cuts out a lot. But that's fine, just offer me a refund for my game and DLCS. I won't play it. It's that simple.
OMG, I bought an online game but I have bad internet. I want my money back. Just 3 words, Reddit nice customer.
Sorry, whilst this might sound harsh, your internet is your responsibility when you choose to play an online game. King ruins the games for the 4 other players in that match, and the DC penalties have been implemented for precisely those reasons. With regards to a refund, this is between you and Steam support. I believe less than 2 hours played within a 14-day period is their current restrictions on this. This is not connected with BHVR.
DC penalty is too long. 99% of people who have to wait 30 minutes to play a game are simply going to stop playing your game. Use your brain, fellas. Don't be like many other online-based games and kill off your own player base through bans and tomfoolery. People who can't play your game can't make you any money.
The punishment starts at 1 minute. It takes 4 DCS to reach 30 minutes. Please stop DCing.
Yeah, they want people that constantly DC to stop playing. It's correct.
If you think DC penalties are good, then maybe you should consider a few things. First of all, it punishes genuine reasoning for having to quit, being held hostage, an actual emergency or game crashing, for example. Now consider the fact you can just suicide on hook instead of DCing. Now if you're smart, you might realize that ultimately any smart player will dodge the bans, while those who have reasons to leave will be punished. So yeah, the time is way too long.
Well, if an emergency, are you gonna care about a 15 to 30 minutes ban? I hope not.
If the killer mains stopped playing in a disgusting way too, there would be no real DC problem. But many idiots try to ruin the fun of everybody else.
Stop singing and play the game. Problem solved.
DC should be removed for this game. DC penalty is a joke. In this game most people DC cause of the stupid tunneling or face camp killers, but they should remove it.
No.
It's a game, made for fun. DC penalties aren't fun. The ego to punish people for opting out of something they paid for is immoral.
24-hour timer. Lol K. Guess I'll go play an actually good game now.
That's what happens when you rage frequently leave games. I'm pretty sure you'll be back after the DC penalty ends.
Probably, because of the sunk cost and predatory game design.
You could use the term sunk cost for pretty much anything that you can't get a refund on. I mean, you have got 300 plus hours in the game. Kind of lost me a little bit with predatory game design, though. You'll be able to play after the DC penalty. Not playing for a day isn't a big deal.
The only reason I'm playing this game is because I've spent hours unlocking that I thought would make the game fun. And you have to spend hours to unlock if you don't want to pay for .